You can win matches even when you are not the best athlete in the room, even when you are tired, nervous, or unsure. And the winning comes from clarity, patience, and control. This idea comes from Winning Ugly by Brad Gilbert, a plain book from a plain speaker who reached number 4 in the world in tennis and later coached Andre Agassi and Andy Roddick. And the lesson travels well into Jiu-Jitsu because it says results follow clear choices more than they follow perfect form, which means your mind sets the terms long before your body finishes the job. Start by placing results above style because the medal does not ask how you looked, and the crowd cannot fight for you, and the replay never changes the score. And when you value outcome over image, you free yourself to do the simple thing that works on a hard day, which is to keep the match inside a pace that lets you think, and to cut the urges that push you toward noise. Think of a match as a story that starts before the first grip, a thread you guide with small decisions that lean the same way again and again. And when you accept that idea, you stop chasing single moments and start shaping the average feel, because one lost exchange matters less when the next 5 live in your world. And one perfect move means little if the next 10 drag you into theirs. Pace sets thought, so treat pace like a real tool, since fast exchanges make many athletes guess, and slow pressure makes many athletes hold and hope, and you already know which state gives you cleaner sight. So build the match toward the state where your head stays clear and your choices stay simple, and hold that state with intent rather than force. If you want to study like this, there is a full archive with study material. The link is in the description and the pinned comment, and subscribe if this helps, because I post work like this every day. Let the scoreboard tell you the next job instead of your fear, because numbers ask for action, not drama. And when you lead, you keep the same steady pattern that gave you the lead while removing gifts that invite risk. And when you trail, you collect ground in pieces and refuse the big gamble that turns the day into a coin flip. And this way, the clock works for you, whether it is your friend or not. Treat emotion like a signal and not a driver, because nerves mean the moment matters, and anger means you care, and doubt means you are honest. And when those signals pass through without steering your hands, they add heat without smoke, and they sharpen attention without stealing it, which is the difference between being in the storm and becoming the storm. See gamesmanship as weather, because stalls and rushes and complaints are patterns you will not erase, and rain does not tell you to stop walking. Rain tells you to walk with a steady step and dry eyes. So keep your line when the other corner talks, and keep your line when the referee talks, and keep your line when the room gets loud, because lines beat noise. Read people for habits, not secrets, since most opponents show what they dislike when strain rises. Some rush when behind, and some freeze when grips break, and some stare at the clock when the pace slows. And if you keep the story in the place that invites the habit that hurts them, you do not need to be stronger or faster. You only need to be honest and patient. Carry the same honesty toward yourself, because self-scouting is a compass. So admit which exchanges bring out your best thinking and which ones scramble it. Then steer toward the version of you that sees the field. And when the day ends, check if you lived there or drifted, because that check tells you more than any highlight ever will. Use momentum with respect, like a flame that warms or burns, because when the match swings your way, you do not grab at everything in reach. You keep stacking the same plain choices that build the swing, and you let time collect for you. And when the swing runs the other way, you stop feeding it with rush, and you step back from the edge until your footing returns, and then you move again. Treat pauses like clean doors back into the story, because many people drift for a heartbeat when action stops. And if you step forward with intent at those small doors, you gain ground that looks invisible to the crowd but feels heavy to the person across from you. And enough of those gains turn into control that lasts to the end. Respect big stages like the Abu Dhabi Combat Club without letting the stage change your nature, since the mat is the same size and the task is the same chain of decisions made in order, and the athlete who treats the walkout as part of the match and the lights as part of the weather looks like they belong not because they are louder than the room, but because the room never gets inside them. Keep attention on a tight budget, because you spend it whether you notice or not. So waste little on predictions and talk, and place more on the piece of the story you can shape right now, and the match will slow for you while feeling fast for the other person, which is what control feels like from the inside. Hold humility as a working tool, because humility keeps you coachable during the storm and lets you change pace without defending pride, and that small freedom saves energy minute by minute until the last hard exchange where steady legs decide close fights and close fights decide most weekends. Let your language be simple, because words set posture, and plain lines that point forward calm the body in a way slogans do not. So talk to yourself with sentences that mean something you can do, and not with noise that tries to change how you feel. And over time, you will trust that voice because it keeps you on the rails. Remember that the opponent is a person with the same pulse and the same wish for control. And when you hold that picture, they shrink from a shadow to a shape, and the work becomes simple again, which is to keep guiding the match back to the place where your head sees what matters and your hands make the next right choice. Honor preparation that fits the mind and not only the body, because attention grows like strength, and if normal training ends with quiet notes about what kept the round clear and what pulled it toward rush, you will spot patterns a plan can use, and when event day comes, the mind you bring will be the same one you built in the room, which is the goal. Let small promises guide a big day, not as steps to follow, but as values you keep without debate, like choosing calm over chaos, and clarity over noise, and direction over show. And the more times you keep those promises under heat, the less the heat matters. Hold mistakes without panic, because errors happen, and the only thing that matters is the next honest act. So when a moment slips, you do not turn it into a story about your worth. You turn it into fuel for the next clear choice. And that habit turns long matches into steady work rather than a ride on feelings. Respect the clock, because time is part of the fight, and time rewards the athlete who does not waste energy on what they cannot move. So keep giving energy to choices that lean the story your way, and keep removing gifts that lean it the other way. And by the last minute, you will have more left than the person who burned their gas on noise. Build a simple identity that does not break under travel and lights and long waits, because identity answers pressure faster than thought. So be the athlete who favors clear work over show, who favors steady pace over spikes, who favors the next right choice over the need to prove something. And with that identity, you arrive the same on local mats and on big stages. And the people who face you start to feel that sameness in their legs. Carry respect for the craft without worshipping talent, because talent rises and falls with mood and sleep and luck, while respect shows up every day in the way you listen and the way you train and the way you keep your word to your plan. And respect for the craft turns into a steady base that does not care if the warm-up felt perfect. It only cares that you do the job. Keep study plain and useful, since too much theory becomes fog. So when you watch matches, look for the parts where athletes lost themselves and ask how the story pulled them there. And when you watch yourself, look for the parts where you stayed yourself and ask how you can live there longer next time. And this kind of study pays you back, because it teaches you how to keep your shape in rooms that try to take it. Hold gratitude for hard days, because hard days reveal what training fixed and what it did not touch. And gratitude keeps you curious and keeps pride from locking your ears. And curious athletes keep learning, while stubborn athletes wait for conditions to be perfect. And the season rarely gives perfect days. That is the heart of winning ugly brought into Jiu-Jitsu, that winning built on clear thought and steady pace will outlast winning built on spikes of talent and hope, and that a plain plan that survives pressure beats a fancy idea that breaks under it. And with that in mind, you step with quiet posture and let the match become a place where purpose stacks on purpose until the time ends and your hand rises. And if you want to study like this, there is a full archive with study material linked in the description and the pinned comment. And if this helps, then subscribe because I post work like this every day.